Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is a walkthrough on using our iron worker. The iron worker is basically a giant set of scissors. We have the cutting blade inside here, so we're going to slide our metal through. It also has other options that we need to be aware of, just so that way we are safe around them. It has a cutting blade in here for cutting angle iron. We don't use that regularly. For cutting solid, that's key, solid round stock, and solid, also key, square tubing. And then it also has a punch on this end. We need to be careful that we're not setting anything down on the tabletop. This is not a workstation tabletop. This is a giant set of scissors that has moving parts all over the place. So we need to be very careful with what we are doing and how we're doing it. To illustrate what this can do, it is like a pair of scissors. Okay, so it is a pair of scissors that just comes down in one solid motion. It took me a couple times to cut through this because the cardboard's bigger than the scissors. However, that's exactly what this does, and when I talk through this, you'll see how that works. What we need to be careful with is that we don't do any damage to something that we don't want cut. Also, to the machine, we don't want to do damage. You've all tried to cut something that is too thick for the scissors, and what happens is the scissors are split. And so with something that is as powerful as what this iron worker is, or shear is, that can do a lot of damage. So we need to be very careful that we use this correctly. Okay, so I'm going to use one of these pieces of metal. This is like a tail or a little piece that we've cut off of something bigger. I'm going to use a square, so that way I know that I'm cutting 90-degree pieces off. And I'm going to go ahead and put my metal in right here. Okay. So there are feet down here, or pedals, I should say. Down here, it says up and down, right here. So that is how I'm making this go up, and that's how I'm making this go down, the blade, that is. As this demonstration continues. That's what I'm working with. There is a power button and an off button, and then there are two emergency buttons that you can push this thing, or push the buttons, and it turns the whole thing off. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the green button that turns it all on. I'm going to bring this in here. With this entire machine, there's a couple things that you need to do in order to make it work. It's learning the machine, some would say common sense, but it's just a handful of things. There are three things that you need to do that is absolutely necessary for you to stay safe and for the piece of equipment here to not be ruined. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this up, and then I'll show you what those three things are. So the blade is back in here. I can look through these vent holes. I can look through any of these gaps to see the blade. I'll explain more in the measuring video with how to get really precise measurements and precise things cut from this, because that's a whole different ballgame. But this is just focused on how do you make cuts and how do you not damage yourself or the equipment, okay? So there's three steps here. We're going to look at the height, so that's one, and then the lockdowns, which is 2, 3, okay? So 1, 2, 3. That's what you need to focus on here is 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to unlock this. I'm going to set the height. So I'm looking right here. I'm holding my piece of metal flat on the tabletop, and I'm going to take this, this is just a piece of steel that we have that is the exact distance that we need. I'm going to slide it in here. And then I'm going to tighten this down to where I can still, I might have to forcefully, but I can still get the piece of metal out. Then I can hang that back up, and I'm going to tighten it down. So now I have this set to the correct height, which is 1, and then 2, and 3. Okay? You don't have to try and put all of your body weight into these unless you're pretty small. But I'd say if you're about 150 pounds or more, you can just tighten it tight. Okay? So this is correct height, lockdown, lockdown. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to lift the blade. Yep, it's already lifted. I put this in. I can look down in here, and I can see that my piece of metal is past the blade because I can see down inside. And then I'm going to cut. Notice that the piece of metal kind of popped up. You need to take that into account when you're doing this. If your fingers are underneath here, they're going to get squished. If your fingers are anywhere past this orange safety, you're in danger. Remember the 1, 2, 3. The 1 is important because it's holding down the metal. If it doesn't hold down the metal, then the scissors are going to get split. Like what I was showing you guys earlier, they're going to get split. The metal is going to split it. So if this is not here, the number 1 is not here, like you've gone past it, you're going to destroy the machine. If your fingers go past it, you're going to destroy your fingers. Okay? So be mindful. Number 1 is super important. 2 and 3 keep you safe. They play into number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this up. And now the next step to cutting straight, I didn't do this on the first one. I'm going to make sure that my square, which is on the edge of the table, I have my metal going up against it. And now as I chomp off metal, I don't have any measurements or anything. I am able to get straight cuts. And I can just keep feeding the metal in more and more. And I'm just cycling this from up to down. And I'm keeping it nice and square. I'm minding that this is already set and my hands are not going past it. Okay. The last piece of this, I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to show you what the backside of this looks like. Okay, on the backside of this, I have now shut the machine off. You can hear that it's not running anymore. There's a 10-ton hydraulic press underneath this that is working the scissor action, the punching action of this machine. So we need to make sure that that is off. I can lift this back safety guard. We don't want this open unless this machine is completely off and nobody's standing on the other side getting ready to use it. We don't want, for any reason, there to be an accident. Okay, now I'm on the business side of it. I don't have the safety guard in front of me, so I need to be careful. I'm going to go ahead and take out my metal. Sometimes bigger pieces will just fall out and maybe even fall onto the ground, but smaller pieces, if you're cutting out like 2-inch by 4-inch pieces, they might gather here. So you need to make sure that you're removing these every 2 or 3 cuts. You can see that I have a handful of cuts here. I could hear them falling out as I was doing it, so that's why I did a couple more. We need to empty this because these will stack up, and then eventually it's going to cause problems because they're going to become just a pile right here, and the scissors won't be able to move anymore. Okay, that is that. Remember 1, 2, 3. Keep your fingers safe. Keep the machine safe. That's number 1. 2 and 3 is the lockdown and lockdown.